This is the DAR Today podcast, and I'm your host, Brooke Bullmaster Stewart. Well, we continue this month all about the kids, the students. Hasn't this been neat to see and hear all about how DAR is out in the communities doing so much to promote education and recognition of scholarship, and especially recognizing leadership and citizenship in our students? It's one of our three pillars, of course, of our society, all three being historic preservation, education, and patriotism. Today, we're going to hear a lot about our DAR Good Citizens Committee. Now, you may think, or you might think, you know everything about this committee. I think even about my own chapter in California, where I was a member for so long, the Colonel William Cabell chapter in Newport Beach, California. We've participated in that award recognition for DAR Good Citizens for decades. But I'll tell you what, Cindi Newbold, the national chair for this committee and a longtime friend of mine, has some things to say about this committee today that were really eye-openers for me, and they just might be for you too. Now, one quick note about my interview with Cindi Newbold. Unfortunately, our mics went out mid-interview for just a few moments, and so we ask your understanding and your grace when the sound is a little different. We did try to fix it, but, technology gets a little fickle sometimes. So, at Continental Congress this past summer, though, after the Education Awards night was over, we had such a thrill. We were able to have a quick interview with the 2024 DAR Good Citizens winner, Christina Gogzheyan, and we'll play that interview today. But before we jump into this episode, all about DAR Good Citizens, we want to take a moment to mention NASA's annual Day of Remembrance is traditionally held the fourth Thursday in January, a day to pause and reflect on those who have lost their lives while furthering the cause of exploration and discovery, including the crews of Apollo 1 and the Space Shuttles Challenger and Columbia. And in doing so, we wanted to share a bit of this message from NASA with Administrator and Senator Bill Nelson. So stay tuned for that message, and then we'll jump right into those interviews about our DAR Good Citizens Committee. And hey, as always, thanks so much for being here with us today.
NASA has always sought to better understand our universe and our place in it. And each year, NASA has a day of remembrance to honor the astronauts who gave their lives to advance exploration. We pause to remember the crews of Apollo 1, then Challenger, then Columbia. We also remember the many astronauts who lost their lives while training. These pioneers committed themselves to expanding the knowledge of the unknown. Today and every day, we carry with us the spirit of NASA's fallen adventurers as we push the boundaries of what's possible in the cosmos.
Well, Cindi Newbold, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. We have been trying to do this for so long, haven't we?
Finally, we're together.
It's just amazing. So, of course, you're the national chair of the DAR Good Citizens Committee. I think it's one of the most wonderful committees within DAR. And so why don't you tell us why you think that this committee is so important to DAR?
Well, this committee is the best committee of DAR.
Yes, of course.
For one, of course.
Yes.
But more so than that, it's one of the very few opportunities that high school students have to earn a scholarship, to be recognized for the essence of who they are as an individual. Okay? Withstanding your attendance record, withstanding how you do on your tests, your grades, but who you are you dependable? Okay? Are you service-minded? Okay? And to be able to identify a student that has those features that are the essence of who they are.
Wow.
And to recognize them, to be able to lift them up, whether or not it's at their high school level, then they win again at the chapter level,
Yes.
some more wind underneath their wings, keep going on to the district level, the state level, the division level, collecting money all along the way,
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful to be able to do that for people. So you may not realize that sometimes it's the first time that these students have been recognized, and to have an opportunity to be honored by their community, whether or not it's a community of students, a community of DAR members with their families and their friends in attendance. And, they just stand a little bit taller and, because not all DAR Good Citizen winners may be the students that you have seen achieving all along the way, in many other fields. These students may be the ones that are having to care for an ill family member. I know one in particular whose father was doing dialysis treatments, several days a week. And so, of course, the day of dialysis, he's down. And then the day after, he's recovering. Mom is working 3 jobs.
Oh, God.
And he had 2 little siblings that were in elementary school. So when the students, their siblings couldn't go to school, he couldn't go to school. So he could never get perfect attendance. Okay. And, and then if dad needed him, then he needed to be there if dad was having a rough time with his chemo. Dependability. He was like achieving above and beyond, and then Sundays, he would take his siblings to church and he was in charge of the youth group there.
You're kidding.
Leadership.
Oh my
Okay,
word.
what is that? What, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about this is exactly who we are interested in.
Yes.
And so one of the things that is new this year is we have taken the transcript away from our application packet.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. What that does is it opens up the demographic field so that schools, their leadership team, their students, however it is that they're choosing to recognize a student, that the pool is wide open.
Yeah.
It's not just somebody that may be academically astute,
and that's great for them, right? There are so many things. Yeah. There are so many things that recognize that.
Right. But this particular award
right.
speaks of being a good citizen.
Right.
Somebody that has the heart and the spirit. This is something that you can't teach.
Yes.
You can't learn in a classroom.
Yes.
This is who they are.
Yes.
And to be able to lift them up at the chapter level, well, first lifting up at the school level.
Yes.
Because what that does to to their own self-esteem, to their peers. And it's like, well, wait a minute, maybe we need to look and recognize folks for more things than what we think.
Yes.
And it helps to broaden the eyes of others as well. And so that they can appreciate, those qualities that we're looking for in a DAR good citizen. But none of this would happen, without our chapter chairs and, the chapters that help them to go out and to spread this information about this wonderful committee, this wonderful opportunity.
Yeah.
Because DAR is one of very few scholarships that's available to students that may not have that GPA, requirement. We're looking for the person.
When you think about all the chapters in the United States, is it a majority of chapters that offer this? Or could we really encourage so many more chapters to look into this being something that they offer?
There are quite a large amount of chapters that are participating.
Oh, good.
But we can always do more, right?
Oh, yes.
We can always do more. But, I think instead of, looking at, having chapters come on board, to look at having individuals within the chapter that just love young people, and want to have an opportunity to be the wind underneath some wings that maybe haven't had much wind, to give them that opportunity.
Yeah.
Because all along the way, every level that they can win, they're collecting dollars. And even if they don't make it to the national level, look at what that does to the people around them. It's not just a win for that young person, but for their family, for their friends, for who they are meant to be.
And for their education to be able to pay for it a little
Exactly,
bit. Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't have to be going to college. I mean, they could be going to a trade school, or they will
Trade
do
school.
something,
Exactly.
whatever speaks to them, because they already know who they are.
Mhm.
And they're going to pick something that is going to, you know, use that skill set.
Yeah.
They're going to pick the right thing. We don't have to worry about that. The money's going to be well spent.
Yes. It's really exciting that the Wright administration decided to add that extra component, or I should say, take away that component to this particular committee. So that is a really exciting thing.
Right. Because, you know, the thing is, having it there doesn't mean that an A student, you know, can't win or shouldn't win.
Mhm.
You know, they very well should if they are the person that has that essence of who they are. It's who they are,
Mhm.
you know, as an individual.
Yeah.
But what it did, I think, was to allow the opportunity for people to think a little bit broader as to the demographic pool that they can pull from
Mhm.
to identify that student,
Right.
you know, that is that DAR good citizen this
Mhm.
school year,
Mhm.
who has shown that time and time again.
Yeah.
This is who they are no matter what. So, you know, judges is another way that you can really impact, you know, which students rise up, you know, as far as moving to the next level.
Tell me about that.
Okay. So, because this is not an academic contest, it is about who that person is. So when they do their essays, you know, it's not about right or wrong. It can't be wrong because they're giving you themselves, what they think, okay, how they feel, what they believe, what their choices are. So there is no wrong answer. They're all right answers. But when you pick judges, you know, to evaluate, it's wonderful when you have a mix, gender balance within your judges, generational balance, and that includes young people. At the national level, I have made it a point that all of my judges are not from the same state even.
Oh, good. Wow.
Okay, so I want to have my national judges are in different states. I make sure that I have at least one college freshman or sophomore on my judging team because they are very close to who our high school seniors are. You know, and then to have, you know, some separation between, you know, their generational ages as well and their career paths, because not everybody thinks the same. You know?
That's a brilliant point.
So it makes it a little bit more difficult to do, but I wanted to make sure that it was a broader field.
Yes.
You know, and the young people weren't just being judged on as an academic essay. Was the punctuation correct? You know, was the spelling correct? That's not what we're looking for, you know.
That's brilliant, actually, because I think so many people, especially with our chapter, has done this, participated in this committee and this award for 75 years. And it's always these older people that have so much experience, which is great. But I love this point that it's like, think of a whole broad, diverse, you know, group of people that are going to judge this. That's great.
Exactly, because one of my judges is actually a grocery store clerk. You know?
Yeah.
And he was like, are you sure that you want me to do this? And I'm like, absolutely. Because we're looking for people from, you know, a nice cross section, because our students are coming from everywhere and every level of, you know, of our society. So why not be judged, you know, by judges that kind of mirror just a cross section of that?
That's exactly right. I can't wait to hear our DAR Good Citizen from last year. We're going to play a bit of her interview in this episode today, and also to hear from next year. So we'll see you, I hope, up on that stage at Constitution Hall, correct?
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
God willing. Exactly.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Exactly. Thank you so much for being with us and taking the time.
Well, thanks for inviting me. This has been wonderful.
Absolutely. So, Christina, congratulations on being awarded the DAR Good Citizen. Tell us about you and your school.
So, my name is Christina Gogzheyan. I go to Scott High School in Taylor Mill, Kentucky. I just graduated from being a
Congratulations.
senior. Thank you. Yeah,
And what inspires you to do what you do?
mainly my family. A lot of the values and the principles that I've learned throughout my life that have led me down the path that I've gone down has been because of what my family has taught me, whether it was their story about their immigration or just what they've learned from their personal experiences has carried on to my life and has inspired me to ultimately be here.
It was so exciting to see you tonight on the stage and hear you, and everybody cheered because we were so excited to hear your story. How did that feel, being up there at the podium?
It was exhilarating,
Yeah.
I think is the word. A little bit overwhelming, but it's insane how many people are here to like support me and celebrate my award and my success. And I just felt very, very excited. And
We were so
Appreciate it.
overwhelmed to have you here. Thank you so much. One quick note about next Monday, that is the first Monday of February, we'll be doing a replay of one of our favorite segments that premiered in the first year of our podcast. For those of you who are fairly new to our podcast, this will be new for you. So we'll see you on the second week of February with brand new episodes and interviews where we'll be talking all about our DAR today. We leave you today with this quote by Oscar Wilde. Experience is the hardest kind of teacher. It gives you the test first and the lesson afterward. Well, thanks for listening and be well, dear friends. Let's celebrate the stars and stripes forever and remember, with all of your ancestors behind you, you are the result of the love of thousands. Well, this podcast was written and produced by our incredible team of writers and editors, and we are, as always, so grateful for President General Pamela Rouse Wright and Historian General Suzanne Heskey for their constant guidance, to Cindi Newbold, Christina Gogzheyan and her parents for being so generous with their time, to Susan Johnston for her reminder about the upcoming NASA Day of Remembrance. Thank you so much, Susan. And a very special thanks to one of the most amazing members of our team, Allison Mannella, for stepping up so much while my family and I are moving. Allison, you're a rock star. The National Society Daughters of the American Revolution is a nonprofit, non-political, volunteer women's service organization dedicated to preserving our American history, securing the nation's future through better education, and promoting American patriotism. Members are all lineal descendants of those who supported the cause of independence in the Revolutionary War. For more information, please visit dar.org. This is the DAR Today podcast.